Hi, my name is John Miller. I'm with IBM in our Global Technology Services Group. I'm Chief Architect for our data center infrastructure management tools, which includes strategy, acquisition, development, deployment, operations. We have a very small group that does that. Fortunately, with the Nlyte tools, you can do that with a small number of people. But we manage, right now we have deployed in 33 countries, over 113 unique cities that we've got that around worldwide. We still have some that are still pending deployment. Yeah, and the scope of what we're doing is of course building on the, as I mentioned earlier, the asset management side of it, but progressing into the explore, discovery, the more, I guess they would be edge-based kind of things like Neo, and in particular workflow that we're finding is going to be very helpful to us. So we're looking at pretty much as Nlyte comes out with it, we're interested in looking at almost everything. First off, I'd say we're doing a lot of the same things that Travis and David mentioned, in terms of the metrics. But you kind of triggered an idea when you asked that question, because recently our corporate environmental affairs in IBM has been meeting with me and asking about new metrics that we might want. And apparently they're looking at something, that's looking at server utilization, not just the VM and that kind of utilization, but actually down to chip level, which apparently is something they said is going to come out, following kind of the STAR kind of thing. So we're trying to get ahead of that. It's actually looking at not just material level, but almost, for every, like I said, CPU kind of material that you have in those materials. And with Nlyte, the point being is that we have a chance to actually be able to get on top of that, because it does get us down to a level where we're looking at every asset and we're going to be able to trace, a machine type model back to a CPU, that can go with that and look at that kind of utilization. Because I think their rationale they pointed out is they want to look at, the overall data center effectiveness. At IBM, we've looked at initially tying it into their RFID system that we had deployed a few years back. And we had partnered then with our asset management group, so we've sustained that kind of partnership. We're also doing, of course, BMS integration. The interesting thing is, though, we've been looking very seriously and done proofs of concept on Neo and the Nlyte Asset Explorer tool, which we're very interested in getting for the, and it sounds like a divergence, but just so we can get a network database. It's just like we do with our power connectivity database. But that's where we kind of struggle, because up to this point, it's been mostly facility related or physical infrastructure related kinds of activities. When you get into the Asset Explorer now, for IBM, this is where it gets very unique, because we have over 4,000 different accounts, and each one is like its own little business in a way that had their own change management systems, and but at the same time they all recognized that they were doing stuff on the back of an envelope or spreadsheet. So what we've ended up doing is there's an initiative within IBM that's putting together what they call a cognitive enterprise data processing facility now that's going to consolidate all of these accounts data, and at the same time, this is where they're very interested. In fact, they've kind of leapfrogged our Nlyte product very high in the food chain to integrate with that, because they recognize that this can now bring in all of the infrastructure side to all of these accounts that before, if it was perhaps one business. I know there may be departmental kind of issues in most normal companies, but with IBM it was very much even contractual. You will not share our data with anybody else. So it was a very difficult hurdle to get over. I would also acknowledge Nlyte's presence in that area, and in particular because you provide charts that do show the core tools as well as expansion tools. And to me, DSIM, just by its very nature, was always a core capability that, and it could be expanded generically, like as you've added more and more features, but it's also meant to be an integration tool. The technical side was never really the difficulty. It was trying to get the technical maturity that Nlyte brings, and bridge that together with what I call our business maturity of our organization, that they do mesh, that our goals meet, that they recognize that these tools will work, but it can't be just, assign one guy to do a heroic effort, and do it all by himself. But it's got to be an organization that says, yeah, the guys are going to use the tool. Get your management on board. Ours was, 90% on board. I'll put it that way. In a couple of countries that, decided to go rogue on us on this thing. But that's an important piece, as I'm sure you all know. But that will make it so much simpler if you do have that buy-in.